Envisioned Broadcasting. Envisioned Broadcasting. The station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. An affiliate of Direct Impact Broadcasting and Creative Broadcasting, presenting the Empower Hour with Jaresha, a show that shares the stories behind the journeys of leaders, influencers, and motivators. The Empower Hour with Jaresha begins now.
Welcome to Empower Hour with Jaresha. I am your host, Jaresha Moore. A little bit about myself. I'm a best-selling author with over 18 years of combined experience in education, finance, healthcare, business management, and development. Owner and founder of Empower on Purpose, LLC, where we provide leadership training, personal professional coaching, and consulting services. Certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team, and owner of Envisioned Broadcasting radio station. Before I introduce my guest, I want to share with you an event that's coming up this Sunday, July 14th. There is a planner meetup sponsored by Empower on Purpose. This is a great opportunity for planner babes, those who want to learn how to use a planner, those who love crafts and being creative. So grab your happy planners, your Erin Condren planners, and any other kind of planners that you may have, and let's come together to share ideas, layouts, stickers, and fun. Again, this event is this Sunday, July 14th at 2 p.m. at the Dayton Metro Library. Details can be found on Meetup under the Dayton Planner Meetup page. So today's empowerment quote is, if you're not comfortable within yourself, you can't be comfortable with others. Author unknown. So let's talk about this for a minute. I teach a class called the 15 Desirable Laws of Growth, and two of the topics that we talk about throughout the course is self-awareness and self-esteem. It is so important to have self-love and be comfortable with yourself. We live in a society that is so quick to point out who's the smartest, who is the prettiest, who is the best at this and the best at that. And in a social media world, this has become the new norm. Being comfortable with yourself means you're not going to compare yourself to others. It means you accept how God created you just the way you are. Being comfortable with yourself means that you know who you are and you accept yourself as you are. It means that you like who you are and you accept your past, present, and what the future brings. Being comfortable with yourself means that you don't feel the need to define yourself based on what others want or think. You allow yourself to be authentically you. You're transparent, so you are proud of your strengths and what you bring to the table. But as well as being proud of your strengths, you're open about your weaknesses. Being comfortable with yourself means that you recognize that you are a work in progress and your potential is limitless. When you're comfortable with yourself, you spent time getting to know yourself, and you learn from those life experiences. Anyone that knows me knows that it's a passion of mine to empower others to develop self-awareness and for them to believe in themselves. So I'm going to share 10 ways you can help build your self-image and become comfortable with yourself, because at the end of the day, the value that we place on ourselves is usually the value that others place on us. So number 1, guard your self-talk. Number 2, stop comparing yourself to others. Number 3, move beyond your limited beliefs. Number 4, add value to others. Number 5, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. 6, practice a small discipline daily in a specific area of your life. 7, celebrate small victories. 8, embrace a positive vision for your life based on what you value. 9, practice the one-word strategy and think of one word that describes yourself. And if it's not a positive word, then choose another one. And finally, number 10, take responsibility for your life. So without further delay, today my special guest is Charity Marcus. A little bit about Charity. Charity Marcus is a PR professional, branding strategist, founder and CEO of Avenue PR and Avenue Consulting, and co-founder of Black Women Business Owners of Tulsa. Charity has successfully founded 2 businesses in 2 different states, has worked with others to assist them in starting their own business and nonprofit organizations. Ms. Marcus has planned, managed, and implemented over 50 events in the last 8 years in Texas and Oklahoma, and has helped her clients secure well over 100 media placements and speaking engagements. During the 3 years Avenue PR has been in operation, Charity has implemented community engagement projects and connected with local, state, and federal elected officials. Charity Marcus represents clients in nonprofit, political, business, and business industries in various facets, including campaign development, public relations, social media management, press releases, community relations, and specializes in media relations and much more. Welcome, Charity. How are you today?
I am doing good. Thank you for having me, Jaresha.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to have you on the show today. So I just shared some of your amazing bio. Could you please share a little bit more with the listeners about your journey and background and how you came to do all the amazing things that you're doing now?
Yes. So my journey started really post-college. It was insane. While I was in college, I found out, college really wasn't for me. And so 2 years into a private institution, so I racked up a bill, I left school and just went out on this journey of, I think I'm going to get a job and I'm just going to work and make money, and just be out there and just be this young professional and find my way. Along the lines, of course, I ended up having 2 children, and after a while, it just happened that I stumbled upon event planning, not realizing that I had been planning events for, church or just friends and just doing those types of things. And I had a knack for it. And so I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start my own event planning company. And that's what I did in 2009. I looked it up. I did all the research on starting a business, like literally just figured it out on my own, all the steps, Googling how to start a business, trying to navigate how my structure should be. Should I be a sole proprietor, DBA, LLC, incorporated? Just really took the time to do that self-learning and figured it all out and got my first business in 2009. And then soon after I started my business, I moved to Texas in 2010. And from there, I continued to do event planning and also working. And while I was in event planning, I kind of started learning some other sides of event planning. So I started really learning about the concert management, got into party promoting, and it was getting into party promoting and club promoting that I met a friend, mentor, business partner, and she was more on that public relations side. And so while we were doing all this, she was teaching me PR, and I was like, oh, I do not care about PR. I just want to plan events. But she's like, well, you need to know how to do this so that you can promote your club promotion. And so I kind of learned it, didn't really care anything about it, so I just went on about my way. But all in that process, I would say that I started moving along in a journey to where how would I say this? I started, feeling like I needed to grow up. I was in my mid-20s. I was like, you know what? Obama's in office. I don't understand why people are upset that we have this new health care law. What's going on? So I was like, oh, my gosh, I need to become an adult and start caring about politics. So that's where I was at, like, oh, you're an adult. That's adult things, caring about politics and government. So I started kind of learning about government and politics and policy and what it took to get policy and legislation passed. And I was still doing all of this. But then in that same process, as my daughter was getting older, I was like, okay, we got to start school. So I moved back to Oklahoma. And when I moved back to Oklahoma, I was like, you know what? I want to help, get people elected to office, because I had figured out that changing policy and legislation is an uphill battle, but if you get the right people elected to office, then they'll make the right policies and they'll create the right legislation. So I moved back to Oklahoma, and I'm like, well, I don't really want to do my event planning anymore because, I'm going to have to start over. So I ended up getting a job at one of the city government offices. And I felt like that was a great thing. I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn about government, politics, and all the fun stuff. And actually, I really didn't learn anything about politics, but I did learn about some government functions and how city government operates, and then also how it interfaces with other types of government, so like your county office or your state or federal. So I got to learn how they all interface and work together. But in that process, too, I was still out kind of trying to figure out, well, how do I help an elected official? Like, how do I find them? Where do I go? What do I say? What do I do? And so, again, I had to go on another self-learning process of how do I do this? And so I just kind of figured it out. I figured out, okay, let me go to the party office. They kind of told me, oh, you just pick a candidate. And finally I figured it out. And I went and started volunteering on a campaign. And as I was volunteering on the campaign, I started doing two things. One, I was learning how to run a campaign, and there's nothing that they teach you in school in political science. And two, I was doing a lot of the functions that my business partner and mentor had taught me about PR back in Dallas, and I didn't realize I was doing it until one day I finally realized I was doing it because I was talking to media and prepping him to go and get interviews. And so in that process, I learned that, hey, there is a job, there's like a career path for helping people to run for office, which I was really good at it once I figured it out. And then two, I was like, I'm really good at PR. So my first campaign is what led me to starting my business, which was Avenue Consulting. And so initially it was political consulting and PR. And that's where I went. And from there, it's taken me along this journey of starting Avenue PR and then starting Black Women Business Owners of Tulsa. It really helped me to get out in the community and learn and connect with people and make relationships that I wouldn't have never had I not gotten into politics.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where that's brought me now.
Absolutely. So you mentioned both Avenue PR and Avenue Consulting. Could you share a little bit more about each of those businesses and the type of clients that you work with?
Yes. So Avenue PR spurred last year in the fact that I kind of realized in order for me to really grow my PR side, I would have to disengage it from the politics and the consulting, because there could be a time that would come up where I could have a PR client that would not agree with maybe a candidate I was working with and wouldn't want to be associated under the same brand. So Avenue, I just decided, you know what, I need to split the two. I need to create two separate brands. It's still me. It's still, the same functions. It's very cross-functional, but I just need to have two different brands for them. So Avenue Consulting, like I said, it's really political consulting and government relations. So I literally am helping candidates run for office. That's the political consulting side. So everything from campaign management, campaign creation, the platform, message development, candidate development, speech writing, and then also, speaking on behalf of our candidates and just ultimately creating that plan to help the candidate win. Voter engagement, voter outreach, data analysis, voter analysis, any and everything that you see about during campaign season, that's the type of things that I do. I am party affiliated, so that means I really only work with candidates that are aligned with one party. There are some people that do both, but it's a really fine line, and neither party really trusts you with their data and their software if you are on the fence. So it's really just best to pick one party. So I am party affiliated. So I can work on city campaigns like city council races. I think some people might call them wards. Some people might call them districts, but that's very localized level. Mayoral races, state races, legislative, congressional. So from the lowest level to the highest level, I work on those kind of race candidates. And then on the government relations side, I just work with companies to interface with government. So there may be a company out there that's needing some help navigating a process or needing some help with something going on at the city or at the county. I can go in and work on their behalf. And I can do that because I've helped a lot of these people get elected to office. So there is that that relationship there that helps me to do that easily.
Absolutely.
Or, and it could just be that they may want me to attend meetings and keep track of certain policies or certain legislation. It doesn't necessarily mean that they want me to do anything. It's just that you're busy running a business. You don't have time. You may not have time to go to city council meetings or legislative sessions, so I can do that for them as well. On the Avenue PR side, it's public relations and branding. So media relations, community engagement, corporate social responsibility, speech writing, acting as a spokesperson, reputation management, crisis communication, event planning, brand development, website design, social media. So that whole circle of things, that's what I do on that side. And the clients that I work with vary. I work in pretty much every industry except for healthcare and entertainment. Those are two that I specifically try to stay away from. But I work with commercial developers. I've worked with a tax company. I've worked with individuals. I've worked with chambers. And so it's, and festivals, doing event planning. And so it varies. I have a broad clientele industry list, going into education, nonprofit, retail, food and beverage, tech. Worked with a tech company based out of Alabama. My clients vary across both businesses.
Absolutely. That's amazing. That's awesome. And I love how you work with, nonprofits, and you've implemented community projects. Can you share a little bit more as far as how you've engaged in some of those projects?
So for on the community development side, one of my clients, he is a commercial developer, and so engaging with the community was very important, not only for him, but for the city that he was trying to purchase the property from. And so what we would do with that was having several community meetings in a short time span. I think we did 6 in about a month and a half. Community input, engaging and speaking with our community and figuring out hey, what is it that you want to see here? Giving the community that voice. And for me, not only from a professional standpoint when I'm working with clients is very important, but as well as a community advocate, making sure that people's voices are heard. And so anytime I'm doing any kind of community work, volunteer or for business purposes, I work to make sure that their voices are heard and that they have a voice at the table. Even if they may not necessarily have a seat at the table, they know they have a voice at the table.
Absolutely, because a lot of, like she mentioned, a lot of people in the community don't feel like they may have that seat or even that voice. So it's very nice, for someone to be, that advocate for them. That's amazing. You're also a co-founder of the Black Women Business Owners of Tulsa. Can you share more about what that entails?
Yes. So that is a new venture that I just recently started with my business partner. And how that came about is that my business partner, her name is Asher D. She's a real estate professional. And so we met on Facebook and then met in person for some events. And we were talking about how whenever we're in spaces, a lot of the times we're the only Black woman entrepreneur in the space. And not only that, but a lot of times we're the only Black person in space, or there may be one other, and that's rare. And so we were like, where are all the other Black women entrepreneurs? And she would name some, and I didn't know them. I would name some, and she didn't know them. So she was like, hey, we should put together a brunch for all of us, and so that we can get to know each other and collaborate and work together and, just kind of create this support network. And, I was like, that's great, and we can have a Facebook page to go along with it. So we were on the phone one night, and we named about 60 women between the two of us. And so, of course, I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it is very overwhelmingly white. I think we are either 12 to 14% Black population. So for us, between the two of us and collectively name 60 women, that was amazing for us. We thought that was great. And so we started this Facebook group at the end of November, and within a week we had 150 women in the group.
Wow.
And they were all business owners. By that time I was like, you know what, I think we can do more. And she was like, yeah, okay. I was like, we can create a business association, and we can have this business, and we can, provide resources, network, help them promote their businesses. Like, we can create this ecosystem to help them grow their business. And she was like, okay, great. Yeah, let's do it. And at the time, I don't think she really realized what it was, but she soon found out. So at the end of December, she was still down for the cause. She's all about it, but I don't think she really realized, like, oh, okay, this is about to be real deal.
Absolutely.
And so the end of the year, we got our LLC, and then we had our first official event. And I can tell you, it was amazing. By the beginning of 2019, we had about 200 women in the group.
Wow.
And by the end of January, we worked on membership and everything. And so we created these membership levels. We had at least 10 women by the end of January. Fast forward to today, our Facebook group now has nearly 400 women, and that's here in the what we call northeastern Oklahoma area, which isn't that big. And we have over 30 members, paid members. We have annual partners. So we have people that see that need for Black women entrepreneurship and helping it grow and expand. So we have partners like Allstate. We have an insurance company called Community Care. And then we have local partners here on the ground that work with us and other businesses. And so now our next goal is to start expanding. Ultimately, we want to have Black women business owners of America. We want to have chapters. So we want to have a Black women business owners of Dayton or Black women business owners of Cincinnati, and just so on. And so we're looking to expand. We're going to be moving to Oklahoma, expanding to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma here this fall, and then hopefully Dallas, Texas as well, and then taking it fully national come 2020.
Absolutely.
So some of the things that we do, we're getting ready to put on our first expo, and it's going to be called our Women's Business Expo, coming up on August 10th. And the whole sole purpose is for Black women entrepreneurs to have vending booths, and we are driving traffic and driving a whole entire city to come and shop with these women and learn about them and know that these are places you can purchase items. You don't have to just use your same regular stores. There's online stores. There's a whole other world of entrepreneurs that they can have access to. So it is moving.
Yes, and it is wonderful. I will tell you that, you mentioned that, you've have attended several conferences and just been at certain events, and you're the only Black woman entrepreneur in the room. And I can truly, speak to that for my own, even in, the Dayton, Ohio area, that, there's several networking, type women events. And most of the time there's only a couple of us in the room. So I definitely think it is a huge need. And, to hear that, you guys started and just have grown to the level that you've grown to, I think that's amazing. And I'm definitely looking forward to, that chapter coming here, in Dayton or Cincinnati area. I think it's definitely a need, and we need more support networks and systems like that in the area. So I think that's awesome. So it's phenomenal how you help some of the clients land the media placements and, also secure those speaking engagements for them. Can you share a little bit more, about how that has worked, for your business?
Yeah, so a lot of times it's a lot of work. I think people truly don't understand public relations and media relations. It's very hit or miss. Sometimes you can send out a pitch and people take it quickly and pick it up, and an article's written the next day. And sometimes it can take months for a pitch to be picked up and accepted by somebody. And how that works is it really starts with me building relationships with media, journalists, reporters, producers, editors. I have to be very in tune and research and know who they are and know what their likes are. Pitches are very personalized, so I can definitely say that if anybody has had any experiences with hiring an agency, the one thing we won't do is we won't share our pitches with our clients because, that's part of our relationship with the journalists and the writers. But we literally have to take our client, not only do we have to research our journalists and our reporters, but we also have to really dig deep into our clients and be able to tell a story. We have to go in and look at you and say, what makes you interesting to that news or media outlet audience? Like, why are you important to them? Why do they need to know about you, or why do they need to know that you're doing this? So we have to be great storytellers, and we have to have an eye. I know they always say, oh, you got to be a great writer and you know, great communicator, but before you can write anything, you have to be able to find the story, and you have to be able to find the right angle for a client. And then also, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to be pitching you for your products or your services or your business. Media exposure comes in different forms. It could be a story on motherhood for you. You know, it could be how, or, you know, you as a Black woman entrepreneur, that may be the story. It doesn't always necessarily mean that it's about your company. We're in a world where people want to know people. Even before they want to buy from you, they want to know you. So sometimes we've got to figure out how to pitch not just your business, but pitch who are you? Why is your story important? What is your story? And go from there.
Absolutely, that's good. That's so good. I think that's so important, you know, for you, you know, you're saying that you have to be able to pitch not just, you know, their product or the service that they're offering, but, you know, people are going to buy from people, you know, and so like you said, it's all about building that relationship, and they want to know who you are, who's the person behind the brand. So that is so very important.
Yes.
Absolutely. So you've also mentioned that you have planned and held with over 50 events in the last 8 years in a few states. What type of events, if you can share a little bit more as far as the type of events?
So initially, like I said, when I was in Texas, I was doing concert management, so, you know, helping with concerts and putting those on. And when I started my event planning company and I moved to Dallas, you know, Dallas is a really big market, and there's a plethora of pretty much everything. So I was definitely scared and overwhelmed, but I really stuck to small special events. So finding rich people that want to spend $15,000, $20,000 on a birthday party for their wife or for their kids, or, you know, $20,000 on a anniversary party. And then I ended up getting into conferences and conference meetings and expos. And so I did a music conference with my business partner there and mentor. Once I got back to Oklahoma, I worked on various block parties. We have an annual Tulsa Juneteenth festival that that I used to be the event planner for and helped get it really going. This year was my second year actually not being the event planner for them, but now they're at the point to where they had Sheila E. and Morris Day in the Times for.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
I just love them.
Yes, you missed it. Yep, you missed it. Look, check back next year to see who they have next year. I'll definitely host you here in Oklahoma. So it's been various things like that: concerts, events, conferences. Currently, I sit on the Governor's Minority Business Council. And if you know anything about Oklahoma and politics, Oklahoma was once one of the reddest states in the country. So, and what I mean by the reddest states, it meant that all 5 of our U.S. representatives, our congressmen, were all Republican. Our 2 U.S. senators was Republican, and all 9 state elected seats, we were all Republican. So our governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, corporation commissioner, tax, you know, everything straight red. And then not only that, but also our localized state senators and state legislators, 90% Republican. So our incoming governor, who is a Republican, and he appointed his Department of Commerce secretary. They got with one of the Hispanic chamber presidents, and they created this Minority Business Council. And so now with them, I'm currently working on and helping to plan a minority a statewide minority business conference in 2020. So those are the kinds of events that I do. I tell everybody I do anything but weddings. So as long as you're not planning a wedding, I will help you.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us about a day in the life of charity from a business perspective.
Oh, no 2 days are ever the same. And that's how I like it.
Yes.
It varies drastically, but for the most part, I can say I spend a lot of my day going to meetings and events, luncheons, networking events. Every now and then I may get to sit down during the day and actually do some work, and I'm not saying that I'm not doing work, because going to these events, I'm working.
Absolutely.
But like, sit down in front of a computer and do research that I need to do, for PR, writing out PR campaigns, sending out pitches. I don't do that during the day. It's my day spent going places and doing things and talking to people. When political season comes around, you toss in not only doing all of my PR meetings and stuff, but then you add political meetings in and attending political events and going to forums, debates, knocking doors. We do a lot of door knocking during the political season. Whenever I run a campaign, I'm a grassroots type of person, so that means I'm not going to spend a lot of money on TV ads and radio ads. I'm going to put money into flyers, and I want my client on the ground, knocking doors, touching and talking to people. So we do a lot of door knocking. Even though I'm the strategist and not his campaign manager or her strategist, I am still on the ground. I'm still working. I'm still, have my campaign shirt on and running around as well too. So it varies. It varies. And then I would say it's the evening time. That's when I really settle down, maybe from about 10 p.m. to about 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning. That's when I'm doing my computer work.
Wow. That's awesome. I love the fact that, you mentioned that, each day is different. I think that's one of the things that I love about my job as well, is that every day is different. So I definitely can appreciate that. So as a business owner, we're always learning new things every single day. But what is one thing that you wish you had have known when you started out?
I wish I would have known it wasn't going to be as easy as I thought it would. I was just, coming off of all the campaign stuff. I'm just thinking, I'm about to start this business and I'm about to go. And that was not the case. I started my business, and then it was literally a good 3 to 4 months before I actually went all in on my business, because I just thought people were gonna show up and do, oh yeah, you helped this person win, so yeah, I want you, or yeah, you did media for that person, I want you. No, you got to get out there, and I should have done more upfront hustle than what I did. And so if I did it all over again, knowing what I know now, I would have put more of the hustle up front. And instead of just kind of thinking, oh, here's my business, everybody, come to me.
Absolutely. And I can definitely understand that. And we both know, as business owners, that there are wins and successes, but there's also obstacles, challenges, and disappointments. Can you share one of the challenges you faced and how you overcame it?
I'll say one of my biggest challenges was having to deal with my first big PR client. And so one thing I will tell people is, when you hire consultants and agencies, you're hiring us for our knowledge. It doesn't matter whether it's a business consultant, a marketing, whatever type of consultant. You're hiring us for our knowledge and expertise. But what you're not doing is hiring an employee. And so I had a client that kind of was really trying to micromanage what I was doing. And you know how it is when you get your first client. You're trying to do whatever you can, but you don't want to lose this client. Oh, my gosh, you have this big check coming in. I don't want to lose it. So I was trying to manage his micromanaging and then what I really needed done, and it just wasn't working. So ultimately, I ended up having to fire the client, because I just had to realize, you know what, if I don't stick to the order of things when it comes to consulting, I will always end up getting clients and then becoming an employee, so to speak, where they're dictating how things are done. And that's not the case. And so I would say that was my biggest struggle. And again, how I had to handle it was I had to fire the client. It wasn't, of course, I didn't want to fire my first big paid client, but
right.
I mean, hey, it had to be done.
Absolutely. So then what would you say has been the most rewarding part of being a business owner?
For me, I would say two things. One, being able to really, truly do what I want to do, and I love what I do. And then also not being beholden to anyone. When you're dealing with politics and community advocacy, money gets thrown around a lot. Threats of jobs get thrown around. There's a lot of strings that can get attached to people. And having my own job, having my own business, it cut those strings. Like I can speak when I want to speak. I can say what I want to say. I can fight how I want to fight. And I don't have to worry about somebody saying, well, if you do this, then you're going to lose your job, or
Absolutely.
I made you, or, those types of comments. Like I don't have to worry about that. And for me, that freedom, I think, is even most important thing for me. So that is definitely rewarding that it allows me to advocate in a genuine way.
Absolutely. And where do you see your business going in the next 5 to 10 years?
For Avenue Consulting, I'll say the ultimate goal is, of course, to be able to run a presidential campaign. I definitely am working on expanding into other cities. The great thing about political consulting and PR as well is I'm not limited to where I live. I can manage clients anywhere in the country. So, and even with Avenue PR, I'll say they're both the same in the fact that I want to grow my client base across the nation. I do not want to be limited to Oklahoma. So that's where I see both of those going in the next 5 years, having more regional and national clients. And then I guess you could say the same for Black women business owners, Tulsa / Black women business owners of America.
Yes.
Got to correct it. You're going to be of America. Just having multiple chapters in various, all across the country, and helping Black women entrepreneurs and having conferences for us and expos and just helping us get funding and doing all those great things.
Absolutely. That's amazing. That's awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to, hearing more and learning more, about what happens with your business over the next several years. So the empowering quote for today was, if you're not comfortable within yourself, you can't be comfortable with others. Could you share with the listeners what this quote means to you?
For me, I look at it as the same as when people say you have to be able to love yourself before you love others. If you don't know who you are, how are you going to be able to know other people? If you're not comfortable with yourself, because most of the time the only way you're not going to be comfortable with yourself is because A, you don't love yourself, or B, you don't know who you are or what your purpose is. So if you don't know that about yourself, how can you attach and be comfortable with others? If you're not comfortable with yourself, how are you going to be comfortable with my success? Because you're not successful. You're not comfortable. You're not going to be happy with my success. Even when we are not successful to our standards, we still have to be, I'll say comfortable, but not stagnant. We still have to be comfortable with our own process. That way we can be happy with other people's processes and other people's positions and where they are in their life. And so that's what that kind of means for me. It falls under that under those same category of love and self-worth and self-care.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your insight on that. I definitely agree with that 100%. So this was one of my favorite questions to ask, simply because we all have different backgrounds and have different journeys. But it's so helpful also to just share those nuggets of wisdom with others to help them on their own journey. So if you could give one piece of advice to our listeners on how they can empower their own growth and success journey, what would that be?
That it is okay, burn a bridge. I know we get to this quote, don't burn bridges, but sometimes a bridge needs to be burned. And sometimes it's okay to burn that bridge. Now, I will say you have to be totally sure that's a bridge you want to burn or it needs to be burned before you burn it. but don't think that you have to salvage every relationship. Some relationships are toxic and they need to be cut off, and some of them need to be cut off to the point to where they can't reconnect. So that's my advice. It's okay to burn a bridge sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, please share with the listeners what is coming up on the horizon for you.
As I stated earlier, I'm kind of focused now on this Expo for Women, our first ever Black women business owner of Tulsa Women's Business Expo. It's going to be August 10th, and so that we're super excited about. We have a whole entire bottom floor of a hotel rented out. So yeah, that's what's on the horizon for me coming up here really soon, is having a successful event for Black women entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. Charity, thank you so much for sharing your amazing story and journey. Please share with the listeners on how they can stay connected with you, and then also how they can support your efforts.
Yes, they can stay connected with me on Facebook. They can just search Charity Marcus. I have my business or my brand page that's listed there. And then I'm also on Instagram as Miss MS Charity _. And definitely they can, if they want to learn more about my companies, they can go to www.avenueconsulting.com and www.avenuepr.com. And that's AVENU, no E for both of those. And if they want to learn more about Black women business owners of Tulsa, or if they're interested in becoming a partner, or they want to talk about having a chapter in their city, they can go to www.bwbotulsa.com.
Awesome. It has truly been an honor and a pleasure to have you as a guest on the show today. Thank you so much,
for
Charity.
inviting me.
Absolutely. Thanks again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to give me the opportunity to interview you. I wish you much success and blessings as you continue on your journey.
Thank you, and you too.
Thank you so much. So, listeners, thank you for tuning in to tonight's show with our special guest, Charity Marcus. Charity shared her amazing story and journey to equip, encourage, and empower you for growth and success. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, starting your own radio show, or low-cost advertising highlighting your book, business, or events, please email envisionedb@empoweronpurpose.com. Please tune in next week, where you will hear an amazing story and journey from another leader, influencer, and motivator. Until next time, be blessed.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Hour with Jaresha, where Jaresha speaks with leaders, influencers, and motivators who share their journeys in personal and professional growth, empowerment tips, lessons learned, and keys of success that will empower you to be your best self. Follow Jaresha on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jaresha Moore, and visit empoweronpurpose.com. And remember to be intentional and be empowered, and have a great day on purpose.